Hello and welcome back to the Fit 40 podcast, where we simplify exercise and nutrition for busy people over 40 so they can improve their health and feel amazing. I'm your host, Brian Fitzsimmons, certified personal trainer and nutrition coach for people over 40 since 2015. And today we are going to be talking about an awesome topic, that is how to start a fitness journey. I'm going to give you the 5 essential tips for beginners to make sure you have an awesome start to your journey. You know what to expect so you don't quit early because of something that is a normal thing. And we're going to go in depth and make sure you have all the information you need. Now, before we go on, real quick, just hit that pause button for 2 seconds. Go hit that follow or subscribe button wherever you're watching or listening so that way you do not miss another episode going forward. All right. Now, before I begin, I will say that this information I'm about to give you is for people over 40. It's not people trying to max out on their performance when it comes to like bodybuilding, like trying to build the most muscle possible, trying to get the leanest possible, trying to run an ultra marathon or anything like that. So this will break a lot of those rules, but for the average person who is just trying to get in shape and feel better and be able to run around with their kids, this is for you. Okay. And if that's not you, I'll see you in the next one. All right. Now, first thing I will start with is number 1, soreness should last about 1 to 2 days. And it shouldn't be that soreness that debilitates you. It shouldn't be that soreness where it's like you sit down on the toilet and you're like, oh my God, I don't know if I can get up. Or you're walking the stairs and every step you take is, oh, painful. Every single one, like you just did a leg day from hell. We don't want that. We want to feel like, say you did your first workout today, tomorrow should feel like, okay, I definitely did something. I feel a little bit of something in like my hamstring or my upper back or something like that. But you're like, it's not that bad. Like, I just know I did something. And then maybe it lasts for one more day, but it's nowhere near that and you barely feel it. And then on day 3, you're fresh as a daisy. Okay. That would mean that you nailed it as far as volume is concerned, as far as intensity of the exercise goes, you nailed it. And that's what we want to get into a nice rhythm of, because if you can do that over and over and over again, it will lead to really good results because it means that you're challenging your body just enough based on you, like your genetics, your recoverability, all these things that factor into how you get your results and how fast they come on. Yeah. So did I miss anything there? Okay. Also, when it comes to soreness, just know that in the beginning, you may not feel anything, and that's totally normal. And honestly, it may be ideal for some people to start with really light weights with very little exercise just to dip their toes in the water. And that will get the body kind of accustomed to it, and you have 0 chance of overshooting. Now, we don't want to stay there because when you do progressive overload, which is the thing that drives muscle and bone growth, which a lot of us want more muscle and bone, okay, you need to progressively overload. And when you do that, when you add weight, it will cause soreness down the line. Okay. But we don't want to just chase soreness because novel stimulus is also another way to drive soreness, which is you just do random shit all the time. And we don't want to do that because when we do random workouts, when we're constantly changing the moves over and over again, we're not doing anything like muscle confusion, because muscle confusion is bullshit and it's been debunked over and over again. All we're doing is giving our body a new stimulus that it's like, whoa, what are you doing to me? And it's driving that soreness. What we want is repetitive, practice of these movements where we get better and better and better, and we're able to adapt in the way that we want to. Next, number 2, exercise alone is a really bad weight loss solution. It just does not work. You cannot outwork a bad diet. So if you are starting this journey because you're trying to lose weight, just keep in mind, nutrition is number 1. Okay. Now, exercise does help. It does help when it comes to the calorie equation, when it comes to feeling better, which helps us do all the things that we want to do, like eating better and sleeping more and moving more and all these good things. It does help in that way, but it doesn't independently help when you're in a calorie surplus or even calorie maintenance. You need to be eating a certain amount based on all these different things. The big 4 things that are going to drive how many calories you burn are, number 1, your basal metabolic rate. That is how many calories you burn at rest. If you were to lay in bed all day just to maintain your body and its size and its functions, basal metabolic rate is number 1. Number 2 is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Me talking with my hands right now or tapping my foot, that's non-exercise activity. We do these little things throughout the day and it actually ends up burning more calories than that hour-long exercise session. Number 3 is thermic effect of food. You burn calories just by eating food, and when it's more whole foods that your body needs to process, that processing that our body does burns up a lot of calories. That's why ultra-processed stuff doesn't exactly do the job the way that non-processed foods or minimally processed foods do. And then last but not least is exercise. What we're talking about here, exercise does contribute to the calorie burn equation, but you've got those 3 other things there too. And you cannot get the results that you want if you're trying to lose weight and only relying on just working yourself to death. And then on top of that, if you do work yourself to death and you try and play that game, guess what? Your body fights back, because if you overly stress your body and you're not, and you're doing too much activity, you can see things like impacts in sleep or reduction in things like your non-exercise activity thermogenesis throughout the day. Remember, NEAT usually ends up burning more than exercise. And when you exercise your ass off, you move less throughout the day. You're less likely to tap your foot at your desk because you're tired as hell. You're less likely to use your hands or to opt to take the stairs. So you always want to keep this equation in mind when it comes to whatever your goals are. All right. Number 3 is pain can happen. Okay. Especially in the 40 plus population. Like, you are not a spring chicken and that's okay. But with age, it does tend to happen where we have an exercise history, or sorry, an injury history from your past that may be causing pain. So you want to make sure that we're addressing that pain or modifying things so that we don't have to be in that pain. But if it's things like arthritis, for example, that is pain that's never going to go away, and it is just something that needs to be dealt with. So if you're avoiding exercise because of a pain like that, and there's nothing that's being done that's actually making it worse, then we got to get used to the fact that like, we might be in that situation where you're going to hurt either way. Might as well be healthier and hurt rather than be unhealthier and hurt. Now, another thing that could be happening too is certain muscles may be overworked or underworked, depending on how you normally exercise or how you normally go about your day. So things like the hip flexors, for example, a lot of times people have very tight hip flexors, but they're very weak hip flexors, which then lead to things like lower back pain. So when you're doing things like core exercises where you're on your back and you're doing leg lowers or you're doing hollow holds, and these hip flexors are getting taxed and they're tight and they're weak, that can lead to your back feeling tight a little bit later on. Now, is this a bad thing? Not necessarily. It all depends on how it works in the grand scheme of things and if it gets better, worse, or stays the same. But just something to keep in mind that, hey, pain might happen, but it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It doesn't mean that you should completely stop. It means now we got to pay attention, because when it comes to pain, there's 2 types that I really look for, which is 1, if something is a tweak, or 2, if something is an injury. Now, if you go back, it's probably in like the 200s as far as the episodes are, but Dr. Susie Squats, we did a very in-depth talk on exactly the difference between a tweak and an injury. So if you want to go more in depth, definitely check that one out. But a tweak is something that happens to anybody who goes to the gym for long enough. Sometimes shit just happens. And it's usually when we're super stressed out, when we're not sleeping well, when our nutrition's not on point, when we have a lot of work that just got thrown on us. And it's usually these outside factors that put us in a position where you just can't do what you normally do in the gym. And whatever you did in the gym just kind of pushes it that inch too far. And what that tells us is a couple of things. Like, it gives us really good information. Like, number 1, can we manage any of those things outside of the gym? Number 2, were we maybe going a little bit too heavy, too fast? Number 3, like, how is our form? There's a lot of things that we can look at to make sure it doesn't happen again, and we can proceed as normal instead of completely stopping. But let's say you do have an injury, then okay, seek out a physical therapist or a doctor. Like, if you need to take care of that, do what you got to do. And then when you come back, figure out, okay, how can I make sure that doesn't happen again? Or how can I reduce the chances of that happening as much as possible by modifying exercises, or not adding weight too quickly, or not going crazy on repetitions, or whatever it may be. This is why it does help to have a professional in your corner, so you can ask the right questions. Okay. Now, number 4, for the best results, sleep. Okay. If you can, try and add on more sleep. If you can't add more sleep, try and improve your quality of sleep. So if you're able to like black out your room, whereas you have like right now, maybe you have a bunch of lights in the room that catch your eye at night, or maybe you have an alarm clock next to you that has a dimmer setting and you could dim it, that will, as dumb as it sounds, like that stuff can make a gigantic difference. Or let's say you're super sensitive to temperature, like this sleep diva talking right now. Yes, I am a sleep diva. I'm a proud sleep diva. Okay. If you are sensitive to temperature and you wake up at 3 a.m. because the thermostat went from 68 to 72 because your fiance messed with the schedule on the thermostat, then yes, that can make a big, big difference, because if you're waking up because of this, then it will impact your sleep because now we're disrupted. Or maybe we're so focused on other things like getting enough water in throughout the day that we're chugging water right before bed. Now we're peeing late at night and then we're awake because of that. Guess what? That hydration goal is not serving us when it's affecting your sleep, because sleep is number one. Sleep is king, queen, Jack, and Jill. Okay. Whatever that analogy or metaphor is. All right. Because when you sleep better, you will have better energy, which will allow you to do more work in the gym and outside of the gym. That will raise your non-exercise activity thermogenesis as well, because you have energy to do these random little things. And you're not thinking, oh, how do I save energy? Like, how do I not move as much when you're tired and sleep deprived? It results in better hunger regulation. You will feel more full when you sleep better, and you will feel more hungry when you are sleep deprived. And that can affect the overall plan, especially if fat loss is one of your goals. Then it can really mess with that and make it a lot harder, because you won't be doing the things you need to do as frequently because you want to have that indulgence that's staring you down in the face. Your impulse control will also be affected by that. So it will pretty much stack all the odds against you. Then when it comes to hormone regulation, if you are concerned about your hormones, but there's nothing tested or anything that has like given you any indication that there's a thyroid issue or anything like that, sleep can be one of those things that makes a world of difference. Because when you sleep better, that is your body's natural hormone regulator. You will get better results for a number of different reasons just by doing that for the hormonal impact. And then last but not least, it can reduce in less tweaks and soreness and injuries, because there's a strong, strong correlation between sleep and injury risk. They see it all the time in youth athletes. Like when they measure who sleeps more versus who gets injured more, it's pretty damn clear. You are more likely to get injured when you are sleep deprived than vice versa. Okay. So sleep, sleep, sleep as best as you possibly can, whatever your life allows for. And then last but not least, number 5, simplicity always beats complexity. Okay. I'll just tell you right now, when it comes to people I train in session in Fit 40, we do 4 main strength moves along with stretches. And then we've also got cardio at the end. But when it comes to the strength training, like the main meat and potatoes, it's literally just 4 things. Okay. And that's because if you're doing something that's pushing, something that's pulling, something that works your core, and something that works your legs, you're pretty much hitting all the muscles that you need to hit. And you don't need to go past that. You don't need to make it poop soup where you're adding in a bunch of ingredients thinking this is doing something, and then it actually ends up either 1, being too much, or 2, it results in you not getting the best results that you're possibly capable of getting. Because a lot of times people don't realize when you are over the age of 40 and you try and do a 20-something-year-old program, like for somebody in their 20s, it usually has way too much that's going to be too much to recover from. So now you're creating a ton of stimulus with not as much recovery, and that's going to mess up the adaptation, because that is the equation that we're going after. Stimulus plus recovery equals adaptation. So when you work hard in the gym, you sleep well at night, and you eat all the right things, you hydrate outside the gym, that will equal you getting more muscle, more stronger bones, being able to burn body fat easier, things like that. So just know that you don't need much to get yourself out of pain, to build that muscle, that bone, burn the body fat, and feel more energized throughout your day. Okay. It does not take much. You just got to put a lot of intention into those things and make the most out of those 4 or whatever, however many you decide to do, rather than doing 20 things half-assed, like a lot of boot camp style things or random workouts that you find on the internet. All right. So those are my big 5. We got 1, soreness should last 1 to 2 days max. 2, exercise alone is not a good weight loss solution. 3, pain can happen, but you got to learn from it to make sure that we don't turn it into something worse. 4, for the best results, sleep. And then 5, simplicity beats complexity. All right. So I hope that you learned a thing or two. I hope that this helped. And if you want to see what this is all about and see how we put it into action at Fit40 Personal Training and Nutrition, come set up a free week by clicking the link in the show notes or the description, wherever you're watching or listening. And then we'll hop on a quick intro call, answer all your questions, make sure this is right for you before we even start. And then you can hop into your free week and we'll take it from there. All right. So thank you so much for listening in. Appreciate it as always. I'll see you in the next one. But until then, go kick some ass. Bye-bye.